So barriers to UDL implementation. I tend to like to approach from more of a positive um, stance, and so I flipped these. And rather than sharing misconceptions, I really wanted to clarify those misconceptions just through a few bullet points here. But some of the things that tend to appear to be barriers to universal design for implementation are largely rooted in just misunderstanding or misconceptions of what UDL is. And maybe that stems from even what we saw with the experts. There's a lack of agreement or consistent interpretation of what universal design for learning is. But what I can tell you is universal design for learning, it's a framework. So it's a framework, it's an approach on how do we design the learning environment on the front end for the variability of learners that we have in our classroom. Another misconception, UDL is just one more thing. That happens to be something that will just stop us right at the beginning, at the very beginning of the conversation. I cannot do one more thing. Well, universal design for learning isn't one more thing. It's a way of approaching things differently. So it's doing what we do, but in a different way. It's a way of approaching how we plan for access to the environment and how we plan our instruction for that variability of learners that we have in our classrooms. It requires ensuring students can meet the learning goal through all the flexible means that we talked about earlier in this presentation. And a large misconception, when we first talk, I think back to a school district where we did the book study that I've referenced earlier. Initially, early on in the learning, teachers were asking questions, and rightly so. Am I lowering the expectation? The answer to that is no. This isn't lowering expectation. Instead, this is changing how students can enter and demonstrate their ability to access and to demonstrate their learning in meeting the expectations that we set for them. So this is not lowering expectation. This is providing access for students to meet expectation. And that's where learning universal design for learning is not easy or simple. We really have to give some forethought, planning, and proactive design in order to make it happen.